Emojis, board games, theme park rides. It seems like if it exists, Hollywood can and will make a movie out of it. Therefore, it should come as no surprise to anyone that the film I'm going to review today, Ready or Not, also comes from a weird source and is a horror movie centered on the idea of hide and seek. However, could this one actually take its strange premise and make it work? Before I jump into my review, I'd love to know your thoughts on all this. Whether it be during or after the video, feel free to voice your opinions in the comments below. With that out of the way, let's jump in. Ready or Not follows a young woman named Grace who could not be happier after marrying the love of her life. However, on their wedding night, Grace is informed by her husband Alex that in order to properly be initiated into his wealthy family, she must participate in a tradition established by the late Ladomas patriarch. In it, she is to draw a random card from a mysterious box and then play the game written on the card with the family at midnight. Wanting to smooth things over with her in-laws, Grace agrees and draws a card that reads Hide and Seek. Though Grace runs off to hide thinking that the game is nothing but harmless fun, little does she know that she has drawn a cursed card and that due to a long-held belief, the Ladomas family will now try to kill her. And so, what should have been a boring family game night turns into a lethal sport with everyone fighting for their survival. I have to admit that though I went into this movie a bit skeptical and unsure of what to expect, I actually came out quite impressed. First and foremost, I really liked how well the film carried out its story. Though at first glance Ready or Not sounds like a gimmicky excuse to make something as simple as hide and seek edgy, there was a pretty good story here. I mean, before watching it, I wondered why this family would turn to murder at the drop of a hat, as well as wondered why anyone would bring their spouse along to meet the family in the first place if they know about their creepy games. However, while I won't go too far into it, the way the film sets up lore explaining Alex's great-great-grandfather and the family's long-held belief about their success worked quite well to establish why Grace is being hunted down. Whereas a lesser film would expect you to just go with it, Ready or Not takes its time to give you some backstory that is both interesting and keeps you wondering if the supernatural is real or not. Bonus points for also managing to be deeper than I expected by touching upon themes like social class, family, and tradition. Moving away from that though, another thing that I absolutely enjoyed was the horror aspect of this film. While the film isn't necessarily scary, so to speak, it does do a great job of always being an edge-of-your-seat thriller, where the nerve-wracking feeling of not wanting to get caught is dialed up to 11. Whether it was watching Grace trying to be as quiet as possible to avoid detection, or fighting back as she feared for her life, the movie does a great job of never easing off the tension, or having her feel safe for too long. Not only that, but I quite enjoyed having the Ladomas family as the villains. While at first they may not seem like much of a threat, just some snobby rich people gathering for a wedding, they do become quite scary once you get to know them. Cold-blooded, deadly, and willing to do anything to get their way, I ended up finding them quite frightening by the end, because there being a family like this out there that is wealthy beyond belief and can just cover up your murder if they want to, sounds eerily realistic. Finally, something that I really enjoyed is that despite all the tension and everything, the movie had lots of laughs as well. From the eccentric personalities of some of the family members, to some of the unexpected death played for laughs, to moments where some of the less committed characters point out the absurdity of the whole situation, there is plenty of dark humor sprinkled throughout. Goofy enough to lighten the mood and show self-awareness, but never quite going too far, the humor was a great way to really balance out the tone. Now, when it comes to any negatives, I would say that there really aren't any except for, I don't know, maybe some stuff that could have used some polish. By this I mean that, while it is mostly nitpicks, there are some areas such as some of the pacing, dialogue, and characters that probably could have benefited from some extra work. For instance, while not a terrible character by any means, Alex's older brother Daniel does feel a bit flip-floppy throughout the film, acting like he doesn't agree with what the family is doing, but then helping them out anyway, which was kind of annoying. Likewise, while not a big deal, sometimes the pacing felt kind of slow, which might have been fixable with just a bit more work. However, if any of what I have said sounds interesting to you, then I cannot recommend this film enough. A really unique film with an interesting premise, lots of high-tension moments, and surprisingly quite a bit of laughs, I think Ready or Not is definitely worth checking out. But hey, that's just my opinion. And remember, don't take anything I say too seriously. After all, I'm just the Wannabe Reviewer. Thanks for watching.